So welcome one and all to episode 52 of the Megavision Show, the companion podcast to Megavision's magazine. Today is September the 20th, 2020. I'm Graham, the production editor of Megavisions. Joining me this week we have Chris, the editor-in-chief of Megavisions, and...
What's up?
Oh, Scotty Moe, the managing editor of Megavisions. I just realised I flipped my camera around so the audience will see it correctly. But when I point, I'm going the wrong way. Today we've got a special show for you. We'll be going through our picks of the week as normal, but we're also going to be looking at the PS5 and Xbox Series X as everything hots up after the PS5 live event recently. So, without further ado, let's crack on with the show. Chris, what's been going on, buddy? What's happening?
Oh, man, guys, I've actually been doing stuff, and it feels good to be getting out of the house, because I feel like all I've been doing here lately is just staying inside. I visited my very first medical marijuana facility this week, and man, it was not anything like I thought it was going to be. Have you guys ever...
There were tie-dye tapestries everywhere? And
I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting, I guess, more of like a store atmosphere when I was going to go in. Like, you could kind of like look around and find the stuff you wanted, and maybe there would be like an area for like pipes and bongs and different things like that you could buy.
Place your pre-orders, you know.
Right. And so, so I got my medicinal marijuana card about a month ago, but I hadn't even gone to the facility yet. So this past week was the first time. And I get there, and it's just this like small brick building, in this small town. But I noticed that there's a long line wrapped around the building, and you can actually smell the weed from outside, like in the street, because I guess they have two warehouses right there where they actually do some other growing and their storage and stuff. So you can actually smell the weed just outside walking around. It's kind of crazy. But then, so you get in this line, and the line actually moved pretty quickly. Took me about maybe 15 minutes of waiting in line, and then you go into this. You actually get inside the facility itself, and it almost looks like a waiting room of like an urgent care center or something like that. So this medical marijuana facility, it gave the vibe. It was just very clean, very, like it was just very, it felt like a medical facility, not like you're going to just do a weed store. Basically, that's
or a head shop. That's probably something else Graham doesn't have over there either.
Right.
What shop?
It's called a head shop, and it's pretty much like every time you're in there, you feel like a disobedient teenager or something, because you walk in and they have like Bob Marley posters and different shirts that you would see at like a boardwalk, and it's clearly like, I bet they have weed here. And like, we're talking literally like you could get a Pepsi can that has a part that unscrews to hide your stash in, like stuff like that. Yeah. Everything that's legal to sell.
This is nothing like that. You go in there, and I ended up having to register. But like, I didn't know what to expect though, Scotty, going in. So it could have been that, and I would be like, well, I guess so.
America.
Right. Yeah. I would have had no idea. But I was expecting something kind of in between both of those things, really. But yeah, I had to go register. So I had my card and everything. So they did all that for me, gave me like a folder. And then they send me into the place, and you're just in another line, which, Graham, you would have loved it, because I had to stand in like 3 different lines. I know how much you guys love queuing up, so you would have loved this.
Yeah, we do love a queue.
Very orderly, just very well put together. The entire time I was thinking, Graham would love this. Graham would love being here right now. But then you go up to one of the people at the register. And they basically just, they welcome me. Everyone's super nice. And they're like, what do you want? And I was like, okay, well, I'm glad I made a list, because you can go on their website and they have all the stuff that all their inventory. So you can actually get like your traditional like bud, if you want like the leaf marijuana, or you can get it in a tincture, which is like liquid. You just drop it under your tongue.
Oh.
Or you can get these lozenges, which are just, they're just like these small, like little, look like candy tablets or something. Throw those in, and you're good to go. And so I ended up getting some of the bud and some of the lozenges and stuff. So
it looks like earplugs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I sent it to you guys. Oh yeah. But I figure, man, yeah, it's just a weird thing, man, walking around in public with marijuana and being perfectly legal to do it. It's just such a weird feeling.
Well, being conditioned that that's bad for 2 or more decades of your life is what'll do that.
And that's the thing, is like, in our society, it's not even the past 20 years. It's like my whole life, ever since I remember being in elementary school and being in the DARE program. What was it? Drug. What did DARE stand for?
Drugs are really evil.
Basically.
Drug and
alcohol.
Drug, alcohol, resistance. Shit. God damn, I should know this.
I mean, I had the shirt. I still remember my DARE officer. His name was Officer Arrington, and he was awesome. He had this like cool flat top. He looked like an action, like a bad late 70s, 80s action star or something. But he seemed pretty cool. But yeah, no, it's just like in our society, it's been demonized for so long, and it makes everyone think that it's like this terrible thing for you. But I know just so many people it's helped. And the people that were in line, that was another thing I noticed that I thought was really cool, is like they look like they come from all walks of life. I saw people, like elderly women, like in like walkers and stuff, getting there like, gotta get my marijuana. And then you saw like business type people and just regular people. It's honestly, if you went to the grocery store, all these people would be in there, and like it's the same type of people you pass by every single day. And so like the idea that the only people who want to get on medical marijuana are just like potheads and other people that are just trying to, like skirt the system. It's totally not that at all. And it just felt like really legit. And I'm just happy that, there's this system put in place where people can go and get it legally and responsibly. And it's all sweet. So, hopefully, man, we'll be able to get it legalized like all over the United States. Scotty, did you figure out what it said? What DARE meant?
Yeah, drug abuse resistance education.
There we go.
Okay.
Yep. So it basically taught us, Graham, if you smoke a marijuana cigarette, you're going to become a black tar heroin addict. It basically
remember Mean Girls, that's singing where it's like, if you have sex you will die.
It's essentially that. They would always talk about how marijuana is a gateway drug, and how if you get on marijuana, then
I'm picturing Mr. Mackey from South Park. Drugs are bad, okay?
Mm-hmm. Graham, as you were a kid growing up, like what was your like drug and alcohol education as a young kid in elementary school?
We were told it was bad, but there wasn't like a sort of, well, at least not in my schools, there was no like big program like called like DARE or anything like that. It's just more like just some sort of lesson that we just have. Oh yeah, by the way, drugs aren't cool. Don't do them, kids. It's like, oh, okay, yes, miss. So yeah,
I'm pretty
sure bad.
I'm pretty sure our DARE program.
I just remembered. Sorry, we actually had occasionally we had local police officers who would come to our schools and do like a police awareness thing. But one of the topics they would talk about would be drugs. So they would sort of say, yeah, don't do drugs, and like they would just give anecdotes about real life drug situations that they'd been involved in as police officers. So I guess that kind of hit home quite well, because it was actually kind of like, oh, damn, that's messed up sort of stuff. And they occasionally you'd see pictures of people like, this is a 30-year-old woman, and she's like looking like 80, and she's like, yeah, she did cocaine for 20 years of her life.
What's funny is if they really just took pictures of old ladies and said it was like a 20-year-old heroin addict or something, just a sweet lady that just like that lives in a nursing home down the road. They just went and took
Yeah, that character in The Simpsons who's like always hunched over. I'm 32 years old.
Oh, yeah. Hans Moleman.
Yeah. So that's basically that's all I have. Doing this week. So next marathon, we'll have it at my place, and it'll be a really good time, right, guys?
Oh boy,
that's going to be a very different type of show, I think.
For the kids.
We'll all be asleep in like an hour.
They just played Sonic Adventure for 7 hours, and then they fell asleep.
We'll just do Sonic Shuffle for 24 straight hours.
God, we just do
would.
Or we just get
wouldn't be
addicted
hard
to the
in that
dark
state of mind, probably.
We'll just be like stuck on the dark race going, whoa, man, like 24 hours is solid. And Pen would just blow our minds. We wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah, Pen would make sense, actually.
Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah. So Scotty, buddy, what's been up with you?
Marathon recovery. We did record our Marathon Aftermath show. That was pretty good, and glad we got that done when it was still fresh in our heads. I haven't been playing anything really because I got back to work the Wednesday following the marathon, and my brain had a hard enough time wrapping around that stuff. But I did actually go to a comic store yesterday, and I got some pickups.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Because, well, I'll just get... So I've been reading more when I go to bed, and, I forgot to get it, but I did start reading Ready Player One, actually. I forgot to grab that. I don't think I really need to show people what that is, though. But no, so what I've been reading is these Sonic archives of the old Archie comics and stuff. What it is, they call them graphic novels. Sorry, I grabbed too much stuff. I can't hold all this. But it has, like, essentially 4 to 6
issues,
like this
right?
is issues 16 through 21. Yeah. And what's nice about it is it's really hard for me to get into novels. It's really hard for me to get into reading an actual book. But when I do, it's great, and I'm gung-ho. And I'm also a slow reader, so that is a factor in there. But mainly, though, with the archives, it's like, it's something, you don't want to read something intense before you go to bed. Like, these are very brainless and lighthearted. Nothing against the Archie or any comic books, really. But, if you're reading one comic, you can get that done in 15 minutes. Unless you are dead tired, you're not going to fall asleep in 15 minutes. So these things are nice because it's an actual series or so. And I started buying them through... this happened when the pandemic hit, so I wasn't going to, no comic shops were open. I wasn't going to go anywhere. So I started ordering them online. And they normally go for, $8 to $10 for the little archives like that. But then I started notice as I was furthering my collection, which is also ridiculous, and it's a vicious cycle, because I own all of these comics individually, physically, but I didn't want to have a stack of 10 comics and then they just fall off the table in the middle of the night and scare the shit out of me, because that's happened. But so I'm like, I'll get these archives.
He's something will happen. Don't put a cucumber behind him because he'll freak out when he sees it.
I will jump into the attic. But so these things were a nice size because I wouldn't really finish one, but I would get a decent amount of reading done. So I started looking at these things. And since Archie Comics no longer publishes Sonic comics, they're going up and down in price. I was able to find the first couple of ones easily enough, but this one right here goes for no less than $25 online, when initially it sold for $8 to $10. So I'm like, I'm going to go... And the worst thing about this is, right when Archie announced we're not doing Sonic anymore, all that crap, I just was near a mall, went to a comic shop. This was probably last year or whenever it happened. And all these little individual archive things were $1 each. So I grabbed 5 for the hell of it. But in my head, I'm like, this was when I was getting ready to move last. And I'm like, I don't need all this crap to pile into more boxes that I'm never going to look at. But I'll get a couple just because they're here and it's cool to have them again. Fast forward to now, I'm like, I should have bought every damn one of those that was there. So anyway... they also did stuff with the Sonic universe where they would release entire arcs as trade paperbacks.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
One of my favorite ones is kind of like the What If Marvel stuff. It's Mobius 30 years later, where Knuckles has a daughter and Tails is married to somebody else and all this other
that means
stuff.
Knuckles had sex with someone.
You got it.
I'm sure they got a good adoption service over there. It could be that case,
Maybe. But this one here is the first thing of Hyper Knuckles versus Super Sonic. This one is another one that is people are trying to gouge, and it has Mecha Sonic there, the whole Mecha Madness thing. But I grabbed a bunch of things that I wanted. Especially, everybody knows how big of a Knuckles fan I am, so I had to get another one of those. And then I grabbed this just because it's a cool variant cover of
okay.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And then I found this because I've never read this issue, but I had this exact poster. It's one of the earliest things I remember in my life that was on my bedroom door. And I didn't know
it was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, audio people.
For the podcasters.
Yeah, it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're flying out of this blue wormhole thing. I don't know what it is, but it's old art. And it's from September 1989. Oh, it's September right now. So there you go. How old is that? It's pretty old.
31 years.
Something like that.
I can't remember.
So, I mean, I bought it solely for that reason. And then lastly, I was just perusing the DVDs that I didn't know they had. And I got that movie I mentioned forever ago called The TV Set.
Oh, wow.
That's where David Duchovny, Sigourney Weaver, and the dude that played Mr. Fantastic in the first Fantastic Four movies. It's about a writer that the TV show made and stuff. And it's not bad. I mean, it was $3, so who cares? I might have spent $100 at the comic store, guys.
So, Scotty, you brought up some good points, though. One of the reasons why I completely got out of comics is because you go and spend $5, maybe $6, especially if some Marvel comics are really expensive for some reason. But you go read a comic.
Example here also. Boom! Look at the price difference. $1.75, now it's $8.
I'm talking about like brand new comics you get in there, so not even like going back and getting older stuff,
right?
Because there was a few different books that I was keeping up with for a little while, but then I would spend like $4 or $5 on an issue, like I said, and I would leave the comic book store each week. I would spend like $50 on these comics, and I'd come home and I'd read through them in like 5 minutes, and I'm like, I just spent $5 on a comic, and that's me still like trying to like take my time with it and not trying to get through it. And even if I do, maybe 10 minutes, right? That's still $5 for like a 10-minute, basically entertainment experience. I started thinking about that. I'm like, I'm spending like $50 like every week or two. That's like well over $100. It's like, what am I doing? Like this is silly. Like they're going in this box. They're going in there. I know I'm never going to read them again. And so I completely stopped buying them. But I think what you're doing, Scotty, I think that makes sense. Is like,
fuck the scalpers, dude. Yeah,
and I'm thinking like maybe now like I might go back and do something like what you're doing if I can find them for a decent price. Like I'm not going to be paying. Yeah, I'm not going to be paying any inflated prices, but if I could get it at least for like the sticker price of what it came out for, I would be willing to pay that for certain things. And I think I showed it a while back, but that's what they're starting to do with the Berserk manga too.
Yeah, you should. Yeah,
so they're doing these like really nice hardcover. This is volume 1, and you open it up, and it's just the manga. But what's nice is it's a lot bigger because the regular manga are just standard size. So I think they're up to their 3rd volume of these right now. I have volume 1 and 2, but I need to buy that 3rd one. So
that's exactly what I'm doing with the original Turtles comics, because I tried to start finding those the original Ninja Turtle comics. Before they came out with I'll grab it another time and show it, but they have them in hardback volumes now. With some of them are recolored, or some of them are colored because they were originally in black and white. And then other fun facts and like art sketchbook stuff and things like that. So that's the way to go with Ninja Turtles. You don't want to try to find original Ninja Turtle comics because the first issue had like 5 reprints and stuff. Because there's a whole story behind that. Sketchcraft could tell you guys all about that probably too, but. You talking about your experience, Chris, was literally me in college, because when I was in college, that was when the first original Civil War saga was going on with Marvel. This was before the movies, kids, and all that stuff. But like, so I stupidly was like, this is awesome. I'm going to grab like this issue of Wolverine, this one of Amazing Spider-Man, this one of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, this one of the main Civil War thing. And it's like, I had a friend that worked at the comic shop. You had to have a minimum to have your throw aside box, but I didn't do that. Box? But I would, but I would still walk out of there with like $40. And I'm like, I'm a dumb college kid. I shouldn't be spending $40 a week on comics. I need food and stupid textbooks and stuff.
$40 a week for a college student, that could pay for your entire meal, like all your food.
That's
for
a meal plan.
You know what I'm saying?
So, but no, I've been, like I said, I spent a good chunk, and I don't really do this often, but when I saw this issue, this thing I've been trying to find for a while, it's Knuckles Archive Volume 4. It's like, I found it for no less than $30 online. I'm just like, if I see this, I'm grabbing it. And then I was like, and then I texted Rachel, I'm like, honey, can you take a picture of the volumes I have real quick? So I like double buy stuff. And so, I mean, considering how much I spent, I probably saved twice that amount avoiding scalpers and crap. So
that's good.
That's Scotty's deal of the week.
That's a new segment. I like it. Cool.
Yeah.
So it's funny you should mention that you're reading Ready Player One, because I finally seen Ready Player One. I never watched it in the cinema. I didn't watch it on DVD or anything when it came out, but it's on Netflix or one of the streaming services over here. I can't remember now. I've got like 5 of them I've subscribed to. But yeah, Chris has been telling me to watch it since it first came out, and for some reason I had it in my head. I've got this thing about movies that kind of try to use video game culture or something. I just don't really, I'm not interested in, like I sort of mentioned with documentaries and stuff, I kind of get annoyed about them. And like, if it's a movie based on a video game, I'll happily watch it, even though most of them are rubbish. But, there's a couple of little gems out there. But this one, because it's kind of like using the idea of video games, and I know it had lots of references to video games, and I was kind of like, don't really want to watch it. But I've seen it. I loved it. I thought it was actually a brilliant movie. Very well done. Storyline was way better than I thought it was going to be, because I kind of vaguely knew what the storyline was, but this was a lot.
Oh, so you had never read the books, right? You never read the book? Okay.
I do own the book, though. I actually bought the book when the movie came out, and then never read it. So
yeah, I feel like you're the majority of people. I think everyone, when the movie came out, everyone bought the book if they hadn't already, but only a fraction of those people actually read it.
Yeah.
I will. I agree. I think visually that movie is amazing. I think the way that it kind of shows some of the stuff that they do in the book, I think is really, really cool. A lot of people were upset that they made some changes from the book. Like in the book, the original first quest was completely different. Like they changed that up completely.
Oh, okay.
You know how they had that big race and everything? Yeah. That wasn't in the book. But I thought, and a lot of people were mad about that, but I thought it was really smart, because in the book, I think it was like some sort of D&D, Dungeons & Dragons quest that he had to go on, and they changed it to the race. But I think that visually was amazing. Yeah. It was one of those awesome like set pieces in a movie that you could put in trailers. Like you had King Kong, you had like, T-Rexes. It was insane. It looked amazing. It's one of those, clips that you'll think back to in a movie, kind of like the T-Rex scene in the original Jurassic Park. How that is just like an iconic scene. I think that race scene is on par with some of that stuff. And so I think some of the changes they made for the movie were really, really good. Now I'm more interested in hearing like your thoughts overall on the movie. Like, what did you think about the story and everything? And does it change your mind at all on movies that are based on video games?
So I love the story. I thought the story was actually really good, very entertaining. Yeah, for some reason I didn't know what the story was before I'd seen it. I knew it was about going into a video game world, but that's kind of basically what I knew. I didn't really know about the nuances of the plot and like the key point elements. So really surprised, really happy with all that. I don't think it's completely changed my mind on movies that use video games and pop culture as like reference points and stuff, because I really enjoyed like the scenes where they had like video game characters in, like they had like the lots of guys with Master Chief costumes running along and stuff. I thought that was really
I love
funny.
that stuff in the war scenes.
Yeah, and I loved like having like the DeLorean in it and all those other pop references. But the one thing that was really kind of annoyed me was they really honed in on a character from Overwatch. Is it Tracer? That girl with the glasses. She's really pop. She's really synonymous with Overwatch. Yep. Like they kept like, there's a couple of scenes where she'd be like there and be like, aha, like just sort of like smiling to the camera, basically like right face on. And I was just like, that is so just pandering to the whole Overwatch kid crowd, people.
Or it could be it could be like an advertisement type thing. Like, I wonder if because there's so much pop culture stuff in there. Like what do you know that is like them wanting to put it in there?
Yeah.
Or maybe licensing to put it in there versus like a company saying like, hey, we're Pizza Hut, put Pizza Hut boxes and stuff. Because you wouldn't know in a movie that's based on like pop culture like that,
It's true, but it just compared to all the other characters, she seemed really like in your face. Like there's other characters like the Master Chiefs. I know you see them running along, but it's not really
said, "Take me to the KFC." It didn't make sense.
And yeah, but it also annoyed me because I feel like some of those other characters, like I know Halo's still seen as quite a recent game, but that franchise has been going on for like nearly 20 years now. It's going on for a very long time. Yeah. Like original Xbox, like 2001, 2002, wherever it came out. So yeah, that's been going on a long time.
Damn,
and then
did the original Halo come out in like 2001 or 2002?
Something like that, yeah. So it's nearly 20
I thought
years.
it was like, man, I was thinking like mid-2000s or something. That's crazy.
And all the other references pretty much are all quite old, like older franchises are more established, whereas Overwatch, I feel like, isn't that established. It's just one character they showed as well, which I don't know. For some reason, every time that popped up, I was like, that has annoyed me.
I was cool with giving something to the younger crowd and stuff because you're probably going to get a big mixture of people going to see that movie in the theaters. And one of the cool things about seeing a movie like that, I think, is seeing something that you grew up liking. And you're like, oh, there's that thing that I love. That's cool. And so I'm fine with them putting something in for the younger audience, teenagers today who love Overwatch, and they're like, it's fine. I'm really interested because the second one, Ready Player 2, I want to say comes out here soon in the paperback. I believe it's coming out here in either in the fall, I believe, because I've pre-ordered it on my Kindle that I own, and my wife has stolen from me. I don't get it back. She uses it all the time. So I'm really interested in seeing the second book. Particularly, I felt Klein's ability to write dialogue was very weak in the book. It just the way the characters talked and interacted, I was just like, it doesn't feel like it's genuine, and it doesn't feel like it flows in like a natural way of how people talk. And I thought that he didn't have a firm grasp on some of the pop culture references that he was talking about, like the way he would say things about a particular console, or just kind of like using leet speak in his book. It just felt really awkward. I was like, oh god, this is a little cringy. Like he's trying real hard here to capture, this audience or community, which I would imagine is very hard to do as a novelist who's trying to talk on this broad spectrum of like pop culture from spanning, maybe 3 or 4 decades of stuff, and being able to talk smartly about it. I imagine that's hard to do, but hopefully they tighten some of that stuff up in the second book. I'm really looking forward to it, and eventually, I can't wait for the second movie because that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'd be happy to see that.
I just looked it up. Filming started in 2016. Overwatch released in 2015.
Yeah. See, I feel like there's definitely shoehorned in that sort of character.
Yeah, I was because I heard a lot about that too, and I'm not even finished with the first chapter of the book, and all the references are more 80s stuff in the book. But I've not heard anyone have your opinion, Graham. It's either it's like 3 camps. It's one camp is read the book, watched the movie, hated it. Another camp is read the book, watched the movie, loved it. Another camp didn't read the book. I guess there's 4 because it's didn't read the book, either love or hate the movie. There's nothing. Right. There's no calm neutral.
I don't know if I've ever talked to someone. And I'm sure there's many, many people out there, but it's probably just my friend circle. But I've never seen anyone that did not watch the movie or did not read the book that did not like the movie.
Okay.
Oh, really?
I haven't met that person yet. I've met all the other people that you talked, you referenced, but I could see someone like my mom who just doesn't get it, like people like that just aren't in that sphere of pop culture. It's probably not going to do anything for them unless they just like popcorn action flicks, because there's lots of cool action.
I think a lot of people were afraid of it basically being the Family Guy episode of video game references or something.
Right, yeah.
So
it works out really well, I thought. So Scotty, have you not seen the movie, or?
No, I really don't. All the things I've heard about the movie, I don't know that I'm going to enjoy it, so I thought I'd read the book first.
Okay.
And already the Heathers references and the other stuff that he's talking about in it is right up my alley. So
the stuff from The Shining, I thought, oh my gosh, when they go to the hotel and I
think you're spoiling it for Scotty right now, aren't you?
I don't care.
Okay, fine.
I didn't know if that was a major spoiler. Like
it's not really a spoiler. There's a reference to Shining. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
He was talking about Heathers and all this other stuff. I thought he knew about like all the cool locations and stuff. So, I won't say anymore.
Okay.
Good. Watch the movie.
Cool. And also, very quickly, I mentioned this on the show not that long. Well, a few episodes ago, I was playing Deliver Us the Moon. It was actually one of my picks of the week. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I do remember.
Playing on Xbox One, and it's kind of it's first and third person. It swaps at different times, but you're in space. You're trying to basically, but the Earth's run out of resources. They've set up this special thing on the moon where they collect hydrogen or something like that. I can't remember now what it is, or helium, hydrogen. I can't remember. They're collecting an energy source, which they're then transmitting down to Earth using a sort of this special microwave beam. And then one day the beam cuts off, so Earth starts losing its resources again. And they send up some people to try and find out what happened up there, like to the colony up there, because they've lost all communication with them. The first people disappear, like they've gone off the radar, and they've got one last attempt. They send one person, you, up in a rocket up to the space station.
Don't send me. What the hell? I want to be the guy.
And you've got to go to the space station and then onto the moon to sort of discover what's happened to the space station and the moon occupants and stuff. And there's elements. It's kind of a bit like Portal in there's no actual bad guys in it, but there's elements of danger. Like there's certain things that can kill you or what have you. And it's a bit of a puzzle game.
So it's like the environment. It can be, you know, deadly, essentially.
Exactly. And it's very atmospheric and stuff. And there's parts of which I just thought it turns out it's actually a Kickstarter game. Because I didn't realize this at the time. And it's sort of like a small indie development studio, Kickstarter game, but it looks gorgeous. It really feels like you're in space at times. There's elements of zero gravity which really feel like you're in space. And yeah, so anyway, I finished playing it just the other day. Loved it. Thought the ending was really good. There could be a sequel. I have no idea. Probably. Well, they've opened it up. Like in theory, there could be a sequel, but the ending they had on it, I thought was pretty decent. But the thing about it was, I finished the game without even turning on my Xbox or my PC to play it. The twist.
I know what he did.
What did I do, Chris? What did I do?
Did you play it on your phone?
I did play it on my phone. Using Project
you can probably hear how heavily I rolled my eyes right now.
So I tested the streaming thing on my phone with the Xbox, streaming from my Xbox to my phone, which works pretty well. But I don't know if I assume it's been launched in America. It might have been launched earlier, but in Europe, they've now launched the beta for the actual cloud service for the Xbox. So I was literally streaming from the cloud, not my Xbox, not my PC. And it worked brilliantly. And I finished the game playing it. And I was just like, that was really cool. And it's just nice to be able to turn on my phone, go to the Xbox app, play an Xbox game, like a full powerful console game.
How's the frame rate like with the streaming and stuff? Do you feel like you get frame drops or there's like, you know, bad stuff that happens or anything?
There was once or twice where it did get a bit of a frame drop and the screen went a bit blurry and pixelated. But literally once or twice it happened when I was doing it. I was playing it for about 3 hours on my phone. So I felt like it was really good. And I was connected to my home Wi-Fi. It might be better or worse on 4G or 5G, whatever you've got on your phone. So I don't know, but it worked really well. I didn't feel any lag in actual controls, which was like the main thing, I think. Because even though it's kind of a puzzly kind of game, there are elements where you do have to try and do things like quite quickly and stuff, like speed, solve puzzles in a fast way. So yeah, it's really good. But the game itself, I think anyone should just try and play it. It's on Game Pass right now. Check it out.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Were you using a controller or were you using a touch?
So
okay, no.
I don't
completely nullified your experience.
I don't think you can use. I don't think you can. I don't think you can use touchscreen on.
Oh, really?
On the streaming service.
Good. Thank God.
In fact, you definitely can't, because when you turn it on, like when you start the app, it says connect your controller now, and there's no option. Basically, if you don't connect your controller, you can't play it. I'm
glad they're doing that, and that probably took some balls for that decision, because I guarantee you that was probably a contentious decision within Microsoft, because you're by far limiting the amount of people who are going to be able to play that game and who are willing to, because now when you're going out and going somewhere, you have to take your phone, you have to take your controller, maybe a clip that you want to, clip on and everything. So it becomes a lot more cumbersome, but you're preserving the gameplay experience as the developer intended to your audience, which I think is the right way to do it. But I guarantee you that was probably a tough decision to make.
Yeah, I imagine it would be, but I think they've done it right, because I hate, especially like there's some games on the mobile phone which work fine with touchscreen, but most proper console games or PC games just do not work. I mean, come on.
I'm sure when they announced that too, the developers were like, "Thank God we don't want to try to make this game work with touch controls."
Yeah, because I think that's the thing. It's so that basically any game on Xbox or PC, like using the Xbox service, will work on this basically. So they don't have to have legacy controls or implement all of that nonsense. So yeah, I think it's easier all round and it's better experience for the player in the end. So it's brilliant. There was one other movie I watched, but I'll save that for next week because it's more of a sleeper hit that I thought of. But anyway, yeah. So I guess that'll wrap up our intros for this week. Do we have any feedback, Scotty?
We do. This is the feedback forum. We got some feedback from Ichabod Brain, who said to Chris specifically, bro, stream 7th Cross. Nope. Yeah, 7th Cross Evolution. That game always fascinated me from afar. I'm going to burn it and try it out.
Ooh, we can't condone burning.
Well, we don't support emulating or burning of CDR, IDO, ISO, CMO, GGC, GIs. We can edit that out.
Was that from our last podcast, or was that from one of their streams, Graham? Because we were talking about 7th Cross at some point recently.
It definitely was not episode 51 feedback, because episode 51 was the Dreamcast Aftermath, the Marathon Aftermath.
That's why I was kind of confused where this came from. I thought we were watching.
We were definitely streaming or doing a podcast.
Wait, that was 50. That's what it was. It was last episode.
Oh, okay.
Before is episode 50, because we were talking about the weirdest Dreamcast games that we always wanted to play or something like that.
Yeah.
And we started talking about 7th Cross Evolution. I would love to stream this at some point, Graham. I think this would be a fun one, maybe that we could do in a few weeks, where we do our Friday stream and I could play it and you could kind of tell me about it, because I think you've played it before, right?
I have played it. I've not got too far in it, I must admit, because it's surprisingly tricky. But yeah, it's really interesting, really fascinating, really bizarre. Definitely worth trying to pick up. I've got the Japanese version, but it works basically. I think you need you might need a small guide for some of the menus, but a lot of it's in English from what I remember. It's been a while since I played it now, but yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that out. I've never really played it before, but I have watched some gameplay videos. I'm familiar with some of the mechanics and stuff, and I actually watched this a couple different endings to the game.
Oh, yeah.
And there are some bizarre endings in this game. Like there's this one. I guess there's multiple endings that depending on different paths that you take and choices, and ultimately like what you end up evolving as. And there was this one ending I saw where it's looks like a caveman and woman, and they're running around this island, and he ends up having to fight like a woolly mammoth or something. He kills the woolly mammoth, and the game ends, and it's like him and his cave woman wife, like next to him, like kind of leaning on him, and they're just cooking like a giant piece of meat on a bone. But it looks like something from like the Flintstones or something. You know, that like cartoony giant like rib that's on a bone or something? It looked like that, just kind of turning on a fire. And it's just them, but it's also, keep in mind, it's like Dreamcast level graphics, so their eyes look like kind of a little bugged out and just weird emotions on their face, and they're all just kind of like moving all weird. It was so bizarre. So I think this is a really it could be a really fun game to stream. Yeah,
I think definitely. Yeah, it could be interesting to stream. I'll have to see how it goes. And I think it'd be interesting one year, maybe Scotty just showing off even for like 15 minutes on the marathon. Because it's just one of those really bizarre games. I think people will just be like, what the hell is this?
Especially if we could find an area in the game and like maybe start to save there, where you're not having to go through the early portion, but you're like right in, and it's just like maybe you're a human with giant crab arms and like insect legs just running around. That could make me be pretty funny, I would imagine.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's been early marathons, where we try to do JRPGs, and that just does not work. It's starting them out anyway. Yeah, if you load up a save, which is what we did with Shenmue 2, but someone couldn't be bothered to watch it because we played the duck race, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, we played the duck race.
Hour.
I did. I came in like 2 or 3 separate times that I watched the stream. One late at night, one early in the morning. It just so happened that like I got up like 6:30 to walk the dog. I'm out, let the dog pee, and I open the stream, and it's like 15 minutes until the stream ends or something, and it's like the marathon's over. So, that's my life.
Worst part for me, but the best part for the audience.
Yeah, it was good.
Quick recap, everybody. You got to go. We talked about it in last week's episode, but nothing worked, and I basically, for the last half hour of Pole Caliber, used one webcam to film the game and me using fishing rods, T-Rex mask and all. You got to go back and watch that.
It's brilliant.
Listen to Corey, Graham, and I talk about it. Oh, man. It's sometimes you get the most creative when you have the least amount of resources. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to sum that up.
Totally.
So we kind of limped to the finish line rather than
Holy crap.
But you finished.
Yeah. That marathon.
I was going to say, and you broke the record. You guys broke the record for how much money we've raised towards Extra Life, which I was super impressed by. Congrats again.
Thanks. Yeah, we raised $1,430, I think is what the total is right now. But we still have time to hit that $1,500 mark, which would be really cool. So I don't want to take too much time about that because the marathon was great, but we did have a whole episode dedicated to the recovery of it. And no, one of my favorite moments was the duck. You should go back and at least watch that half hour.
I'll do that.
Because everybody was like, "What's going on?" It was another WTF moment for the marathon.
Also, Ill Bleed. Watch the Ill Bleed one. I'll say that as well. I thought that was so entertaining to watch. That was so good.
Was it? How different was it from last year's Ill Bleed?
Well, so Corey was it Corey playing it? I forgot who's playing it.
Yeah, Corey's playing. Antichrist was using a game back.
Yeah, so Antichrist was helping guide him through the level, and they finished the first level in the 1 hour slot that we had it on, and it was really entertaining. Mm-hmm. So we got further than we did last year, and it was well worth it. So especially towards the end of that, it's pretty. I can't see.
Yeah, I took a screen cap of the chat at one point because it was literally, "What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? What the fuck is this game, dude? Erica, what the fuck are you doing? What are we playing?" Like,
so good.
That's hilarious.
Pretty good. Pretty good. And then go back to the feedback forum here. Antichrist says, "Blue light glasses are the shit. I've been using them for the last year, and I love them. Special note, make Graham show his fancy blue light glasses."
I'm wearing them right now, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your glasses, Graham?
So, these are blue light glasses. Everyone, at work, so if you do Zoom calls at work, everyone thinks I'm wearing sunglasses inside, with my curtains shut and stuff. And they're like, "Why are you wearing sunglasses?" They're not sunglasses. These are my computer or gaming glasses, as they actually were advertised on the website. They have an amber filter on them. You can get different variants of them. You can get ones which are actually completely clear, ones which have a slight tint on them, and these are the Amber Max. But the Amber Max actually block out 98% of all blue light. So that's the kind of harmful light that actually kind of activates your brain and stuff. So if you're using a phone late at night or watching a TV late at night, they suggest not to do that because it actually disrupts your sleep, because the blue light on the TV or basically any modern device with a screen other than a Kindle uses blue light. It also reduces eye strain as well. And I've actually genuinely noticed since I've been wearing them for the last 2 or 3 weeks now, really actually helped. So I'm feeling a bit more rested when I go to bed, and just my eyes don't hurt so much. Because I'm on my computer constantly. Back when I was in the office, I could be on my computer for a bit. And if I need to go and speak to someone, I could walk away from my computer, have 10 minutes away from my computer, come back again, great. But now all my meetings are in Zoom. I'm on my computer for at least 8 hours a day, constantly. Right. My eyes were really starting to hurt, and I actually started getting it's almost like I was getting an eye infection almost every week, and I think it was just from my eyes just being so tired and just drained. And as soon as I started wearing these, it stopped it. I'd never had an eye infection in my life, and I suddenly got 2 in the space of 2 weeks. And it's God damn it. It just feels a lot better. So you can get different ones which don't look so much like sunglasses. Oh, in fact, wait, hold it right there.
I mean, Andy looked like Bono, so it's I said, oh my God, Bono, Jesus Christ.
I'm sure he gets that all the time.
Yes, probably. I am Mr. Bono. So I've actually got 2 pairs.
God damn it.
This is another pair which are a bit more.
They look almost yellow.
Yeah, you look like you could go to the shooting range on the.
Exactly. So This is another style you can get, which these ones block out 65% of the light or something, and you get the clear ones which only block about 30% or something. So depending if you want how normal you want to look on a day-to-day basis, depends on like what you get blocked out. So
I want to get a pair of blue filters that only allow in blue light. How about that? What's that going to do to my eyes?
You will have no eyes by the end of the year, sir. But yeah.
By the way, Amber Max is going to be the name of my firstborn.
Yeah, what is that? Is it
Amber Max Power.
I think that's the name of the show. Surely, Amber Max is going to be the name of my firstborn.
Oh, great. Yeah, those are cool. I have seen those. I have. I try to follow along with these incentives for well-being stuff for work to get like bonus money essentially. And one of the things it does talk about is don't look at your phone, don't look at a TV. We actually, since moving here, took the TV out of the bedroom. And that's also why I've started reading more before I go to bed. But that's it. All that stuff's true. It just wakes you right back up. You don't realize it.
Without further ado, let's move on to Scotty Moe's Mail Sack of Wonder.
Yeah, it's the mail sack. We got the mail sack. Beautiful mail sack. Oh, nope, that's wrong. That's very wrong.
It's back, baby. That's someday I'll get this down the first time. It doesn't, but that's right. You guessed it. The mail sack is back. So let's transition right into it. Okay. And this is on Twitter first. Cybersonic8472 asks, what do you guys think of all the new Dreamcast stands coming out? That's stands, not stands like the other thing that the kids say. A lot of pricey options. What one do you think will be best for the Sega fans? I don't know what he's talking about. Do you guys have that Kickstarter, or you said it's on a Kickstarter or something?
So I've been seeing a Kickstarter going on, but it's more for like retro game stands, like as a whole. And a lot of it seems like it's more based for cartridges and things like that. I don't know if I've seen one specifically for Dreamcast stands. Have you seen any, Graham?
I know of the one for these stands that you can put your loose cartridges on, so they sort of stack up, so you can put them on the shelves. So it's almost like they're in a computer game store that you can easily see the labels. But I've not seen one for the Dreamcast. Like, these are more for Mega Drive, Genesis, Super Nintendo cartridges. So I'm actually not sure on this one. I don't know.
Yeah, I wish they had added a link to something. Unless I did find these controller stands that I'll toss to you guys real quick. I don't know if that's what he's talking about, because also it doesn't tell me. Oh, these are like $13 each, but it's a clear stand that you lay your controller on. I'm not sure if that's what they're referring to. The cartridge stands, if you have a 3D printer, anyone can make those cartridge display stands, if that's what they're talking about. I don't know. Unfortunately, we're not sure what you're talking about, so maybe we could comment on it next episode or something.
Yeah, Rose Colored Gaming does a lot of like different stands and just lots of cool accessories. I think that they make themselves. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's where he got them. That's where the Dreamcast controller stand you linked to, Scotty. I just saw that.
Okay.
So it may be something coming from there.
There's also protective boxes for games, like the plastic. They call them coffin game cases, but for cardboard and stuff is it's like $12 per thing. So I wonder if this is maybe what they're referring to.
Maybe.
I will give a very generic answer and say it might be great for some. It might not be practical for others, space-wise and financially.
Yeah, but the cartridge stands, which I've seen a Kickstarter for recently, something. Oh, I was going to say to Scotty, that is something that when we came to your house last year for the marathon, and we went to Warp Zone, they had those cartridge stands there, and I was like, oh my god, where'd you get these from? They said that they 3D printed them themselves. I was like, would you sell them? Because I would love to buy some of these. And they gave me a price, and they sort of said, well, they haven't really mass produced them, so it costs this much. It was a bit too much for what they were.
Probably.
But I was thinking, if they made those and sold them in the shop, that would be amazing. And now a Kickstarter's coming along that's basically doing that. I'm like, missed out. They could have been a year ahead, basically. Like,
I
God
actually
damn it.
reached out to Carrie, the owner of Warp Zone, and I linked him to this. I'm like, dude, someone's making money off of the thing you just do in the store, and like, because Carrie's cool and everything. So if you were like, if I walked in and said like, do you have any of those? They might be like, I mean, I can throw it in if you're buying something, throw you in a. I think because one held like 5 or 6 or something cartridges.
Yeah.
But he's like, I sent him a link to that. I'm like, I'm so pissed. You guys could be making, this guy is definitely overcharging for this stuff. And it's like, I mean, we found a free blueprint of it online, so we're not too bent out of shape. Don't like go trash talking them or anything. I'm like, all right, just trying to look out for you, but
I feel like they could easily sell that in store because retro gamers coming in there, picking up a loose game, or just seeing that, be like, oh, I've got loose games. I want this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this. I think that he's not even talking about a literal Dreamcast stand. I think he's referring to the current new consoles coming out as the Dreamcast stand. Because you guys remember that old UK Resistance?
Oh, God, yeah.
Ad, that thing that they put on about like, oh, there's a new Dreamcast stand coming out, only 299 pounds, and it was a PS2.
Yes,
I think this is what he's talking about.
That could be
the PS5 and the Xbox One Series X are the new Dreamcast stands. We just got.
Oh, that's brilliant.
we got. So here's the music for that. Wrong way. That's us. I don't know if you guys could even hear that. That's me trying to be funny.
If that is what he's talking about, kudos. Yeah. Because I actually just did see that UK Resistance image when I Googled Dreamcast stands. I just didn't even think about that.
Yes, sir.
Got to.
I feel like the Xbox would be the better stand. That's a bit flatter. But anyway, sorry. Carry on.
You don't want it to work properly because you're setting it on top of the fan.
True.
Imagine trying to sit anything on the PS5. Like the thing is just like it's shaped like a towel, like on a towel rack or something like that. Just like it's oblong, and it doesn't even look like it sits like horizontally flat. And just imagine put anything on it, it's just gonna fall off. And
oh wow!
I don't know. Good one, Cybersonic. In the Discord though, Tornado Jones says that LBD, that's member of our Megvision staff, LBD brought up a good point about the Super Mario 3D All-Stars release and how 3D Sonic fans want something like this. Do you think a Sonic 3D All-Stars would sell, and what 3 games would you want in it? Mine would be Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Colors, and Sonic Generation. I'll answer the first question. Hell yeah, it would sell. Are you kidding me? They could put Sonic 3D Blast on there 3 times and it would sell just because it's Sonic. So, I don't know what 3, because I didn't think about this question, even though I did read it days ago. Graham, do you have you're drinking. Chris, do you have your top 3 3D Sonic games you'd throw in this?
I like his list, actually. I think it's pretty good. But I would swap out a couple. I would go, I think, maybe Sonic Adventure 1 over 2. And instead of Sonic Colors, I'm going to go with Lost World. Because I think that is a very... I don't think people gave it its due. I like that game. And Sonic Generations I love, so I'd keep that there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. See, I would have Sonic Adventure 1. I would also have Sonic Lost World, and I'd have Sonic Colors. I feel Sonic Lost World is underappreciated. I think it did a lot of stick, and I think it's actually quite a solid game. And I'm annoyed that Sega hasn't actually tried to do another Sonic game with that kind of style, because I think it could really work out. But I think for what it is, it's actually a pretty fun game. Sonic Colors is, out of the modern post-Dreamcast Sonic games, is probably my favourite Sonic game. And I just like Sonic Adventure 1. I prefer it to Sonic Adventure 2. If they could somehow redo Sonic 2006, make it less janky, I think I would quite like to see that. But, not everyone else would. So I think those would be mine.
I'm not sure. The most ambitious thing, I'd say put out a storybook thing but I hate Sonic and the Fire. What is it? Sonic and the Secret Rings. I almost said Sonic and the Ring of Fire. That's not it at all. That's a bad game. Sonic and the Black Knight, I heard it's not great, but I haven't played it. But I would agree to... Yeah.
If you think Secret Rings is bad, Black Knight is way worse. Oh my god, that fucking game.
Yeah, that could be a whole other podcast, honestly. I think I would like to have Sonic Colors in there because I never did play all the way through that, but I've heard that is the Wii Sonic game to get. I feel like all the Wii Sonic games people missed out on, unfortunately, like that should have enjoyed them. But yeah, it would. I think it would have to be the first Sonic Adventure, even though that game's been re-released on everything. I don't know that they could narrow. Okay, there's no way they could narrow it down to 3 and at all come close to making everyone happy. So I would say Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Colors. Generations, I don't think makes sense to have on a collection, even though that is a really good game, but Generations is kind of already a collection. So that's almost like saying put Sonic Jam in here or something. So I don't know. Shit.
Another one I'd possibly throw out there would be Sonic Heroes, because I think that was also underappreciated.
Crap. Yeah, you know
I enjoyed
what?
Sonic Heroes.
Do Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Colors, and Sonic Heroes.
There you go.
There you
nice.
Yeah.
Or what about if you chucked in a racing game like Sonic Riders Zero Gravity? What? Because that's actually a pretty fun game.
No. I mean, at that point, if you start, we can't even do that. We can't do that because then that starts bringing in like Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed and stuff like that. You start getting in these weird games. You got to keep it a mainline Sonic game, I think. Or else at that, there's just too much craziness going on.
You know,
got to draw the line somewhere, Graham.
Yeah, if they keep with how like the Gems collection and the Mega Plus collection had unlockable stuff, if you do like Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Colors, and Sonic, what the hell do we say, Heroes, then have unlockable like the Sonic Rivals PSP games or something that no one's played.
God, that game is also quite nice. Yeah. Yeah.
I was just thinking on par with the Game Gear games, you know.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So
I guess that answers the question, Tornado Joe. So good question.
That's a good question. So with that, we're gonna. Okay, yeah, I got it.
Have you muted yourself? I can't hear you at all.
I muted myself. So now we're gonna close the mail sack up. Turn the page.
Beautiful.
Picks of the Week.
And now we're moving on to our Picks of the Week. And Scotty, would you like to kick it off with your Pick of the Week?
Comic books. I've been reading comic books, and I would like to recommend a brand new series called Heavy Vinyl. I'm sorry, the microphone is right here, so I have to like extend whatever is happening in front of the camera. But it's a cool. It's an I added in the notes here. Why don't you just read your dumb notes, you idiot? It's an all-girls record store fight club, essentially.
Wow.
It's brand new. It's actually funny. If anybody remembers the movie Empire Records, it's like that, but with fun, tolerable characters.
Oh, okay.
I say that because Rachel and she showed me that she bought this, and I was like, "Oh, we got to watch Empire Records before you read that," because like Empire Records is a great movie. We watched it. The characters in that movie all suck. It didn't age well.
Funny you say that. Jamie and I watched that within the past year, and I agree. Like, they are all pretty annoying. I think what it is just as we grow up, we now start to identify with, like, the parents of the movie and all this other stuff, whereas, like, the kids in those movies that we thought were awesome, we're like, these are little shitheads. Like, these are bad kids.
Yeah,
I watched Free Willy not too long ago, and that kid in Free Willy, I loved him when I was a kid. Such an asshole. Such a complete asshole now.
I also realized, like, you can't see on the cover, but there is, and you can't tell. I believe she's Puerto Rican, but there's an African American girl and then 2 white chicks. But when I saw this cover after we watched Empire Records, I was like, wow, honey, I'm sorry. And also that staff is like just like all generic white people too. in the movie in Empire Records. Like there's no diversity in the cast at all. But no, Heavy Vinyl is cool. This is a trade paperback of like 3 issues or something. The art's fun. It like, I don't know, it's just a good time. It's funny, it's cool, it's very chill. It has like,
so they fight each other
too. I can't really say much without giving away spoilers, but they all work in a record store, and they all get into physical fisticuffs at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if they try to beat each other's record.
I gotta go.
Come on.
That's it.
Heavy vinyl. Check it out though. It's brand new. I don't know what. Oh, by Boombox. I don't know that. I've never known comic production
Publishers
companies.
or whatever.
Yeah. That they have like you can see in here like they have references to other record covers and stuff like that, but with the girls thrown on and everything. So
okay, that's quite cool.
yeah, it's cool. It's fun. It's lighthearted, but a good time.
Excellent.
Heavy vinyl.
Excellent. Cool. I'll go next. I'm going to leave Crystal last. So, in fact, this is something very exciting for Chris. The most exciting thing he's going to see all year. So, Chris, just for you, buddy, because I know you love it, I bought the Super Mario 3D All-Stars Collection. Woo! So I got this week.
That's downstairs.
And it is now my pick of the week. So even though I am more of a Sega fan, I do love... Well, the only real reason I actually bought this was for Super Mario 64, because I've said it on the show before, I still today think that it's probably my favourite 3D platformer of all time, and it's like basically the original one.
It's fine to be wrong. It's okay.
I love some other ones. I love Spyro. I love Banjo-Kazooie. I think those are great games, but something about Super Mario 64 I've just loved. It's stuck with me. When I first played Super Mario Sunshine, I was really disappointed to the point that I think I might have even sold that game. I very rarely sell games. I think I've picked it up recently, though. I don't seem to have my GameCube collection on the shelf, which is what I'm looking at off screen. And in Super Mario Galaxy, I remember loving back in the day when it first came out. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is so cool. And so, yeah, I've been playing this for the last few days, or the last couple of days. I think it only came out on Friday over here. Been playing quite a lot of it. So I've been playing Mario 64 mostly, and I still really enjoy it. I still think it's a really good game. I mean, it's aged in that the graphics aren't as smooth as the other ones, and the worlds that you're in are a little bit smaller. But I think the actual gameplay is
anything to like update it though, from what I understand.
Yeah,
I picked it up. So I haven't played it at all yet though.
Okay, so there's basically no updates in this. I think the graphics might be just a tiny bit sharper on Mario 64, like just the edges of things, but otherwise there's no updates to it. Mario Galaxies had a slight update to the controls because it was originally a Wii game.
Oh, that's right.
They've enabled touch. So basically, if you've got a Nintendo Switch Lite or you want to play in handheld mode, you can use touchscreen to do some of the elements that were Wii control. Like you grab onto stars that sort of pull you in the air. If you play the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like you can grab onto stars that will pull you in the air, but instead you can basically tap the screen to lock onto them, because normally you have the Wii remote that you actually flick around. But you can actually use, if you take the controls out of like the normal Switch, you can use it like a Wii. Yeah, the virtual cons, Joy-Cons, whatever they're called. I can't remember what they're called. But yeah, they you can actually use them like a Wiimote, so you can still use the Wii controllers. But if you've got a Switch Lite, you have to use the handheld mode, obviously. Or I guess you can use Joy-Cons on the Switch Lite, but it's going to be playing on a tiny screen.
Do you remember how shitty it was trying to play the Wii back in the day? You'd have the little nunchuck thing. You'd have a wand in one hand and the little egg with the analog thing on your other, and it was so stupid.
Yeah, but playing it on the big screen, you kind of have to have the Joy-Cons sort of like in Wiimote mode, really, because it's just a little bit easier. But if you've got it in handheld mode, it's fine, because basically, if you've got it on the big screen, you can't do all the controls in the game, if that makes sense, because you don't have the touchscreen function anymore because it's plugged onto the big TV. So you have to have it in Joy-Con mode, if that makes sense. Like you can't use it in like. You can't use like a Wii Pro controller or whatever. I don't know. Words are trying to come out now. No, you can't. It wouldn't work because you don't have that.
Wait, no. But what I'm asking is, are you not able to actually use a Pro controller playing Galaxy?
I haven't actually tried it because I don't actually have a Pro controller. But my understanding is you wouldn't, because you either have to have the touch screen or the motion control to actually play the game. If that makes sense.
It does.
So you have. So if you've got in handheld mode, you can play it using touchscreen. If it's out of handheld mode, you have to have your Joy-Cons using the motion control on that.
Interesting.
But it works really well. I really liked it. I will say one thing. Mario Galaxy, I'm not enjoying as much as I used to. I think it's not actually that great a game. I think Sonic Lost World is better. Well, I said it. No, I don't know. There's something about it. I just think it's not as enjoyable. I think the missions and stuff you're doing aren't as good. Like the objectives and stuff just aren't as much fun. Yes, it's kind of unique and cool and interesting and quirky. And the graphics look amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I just, so far, not enjoying it as much. I'll keep playing it and see how it goes. Mario Sunshine, I like more than I remember. I've been playing that and like, I'm enjoying this now. I'm like, this is actually okay, you know? And for a Wii, I always forget, like GameCube and Wii, they actually could do pretty decent graphics. So like Mario Sunshine, it looks really good. Mario 64, though, still my favourite. But yeah. One thing I wish they did do was add in Mario Galaxy 2 as well, because I remember when that came out, when all the magazines before it came out, they were talking about how it's an add-on. It's like a Mario Galaxy 0.5, basically.
Levels.
Like the lost levels, like adding in a few extra levels and stuff. Hey. But when it released, I never played it, so I never got it or anything, never played it. But I actually was looking up more about it, and it turns out it's actually a whole different game. So you've got all new levels. You can ride on Yoshi. It's kind of a similar storyline. You know, Peach is trapped in space with Bowser or whatever. But yeah, apparently it's all completely new levels and stuff. And I think that would have been really cool to play because I don't think as many people probably pick that up as the first one. But yeah, so I guess that's my thing. Check it out, especially if you haven't played Mario 64 before. Try it out. That's sort of where 3D platform gaming first started. Yeah. And yeah, Chris, get it.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
One, I heard that Mario 64 is not in widescreen. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's still in 4:3.
That's fucking uncalled for. I'm sorry, but it is. There's no reason they can't do the work to stretch that out. I forgot what else I was going to say.
But if a game's being developed in 4:3, can they make it wider, like without actually physically stretching things?
I think they can just open up the field of view. I mean, you're working in a 3D environment, so you should be able to expand the camera perspective to whatever.
I don't know.
Your display to be.
It's weird to me. When Sonic Adventure DX came out on Steam, they did not put it in widescreen. It's got those crappy looking blue purplish borders. But Sonic Adventure 2 is in widescreen, which I don't understand at all. Okay. But Galaxy, it's unfortunate you don't like that as much because I remember, like Katamari Damacy, Mario Galaxy 1 was another game where I just kept playing and didn't realize I was at the end, and then suddenly the credits were rolling. Because if I remember correctly, in Galaxy 1, you don't have to play the levels in any order. Like, I somehow saw credits before actually defeating Bowser in that game. There's some weird way you unlock. There's some weird way you unlock different levels, and you don't have to. I don't know. I just remember you don't have to play things in order in Galaxy.
Well, that's kind of like Mario 64 as well, in theory. Like, there's the first few levels you do have to play in order because they're locked to how many stars or whatever you've got to unlock those levels. But when you unlock enough, you can start going to different levels. Stuff like I was playing Mario 64 and I was doing it out of order. So I did the first level basically just to get out of the way. And then I didn't even touch the second level. I did one of the missions on the third level. And then I was like doing like the 5th or 6th level or something. But some of them aren't really... Like, I think there's 3 levels which you basically, there's one star door, you use a certain amount of stars, and then there's 3 levels you get access to. So those aren't even in any order. So yeah, I guess Mario Galaxy, you can do it in that way. But the first couple of areas, you do kind of have to do the first few levels in order before you start unlocking stuff properly. But yeah, I'd say one thing about Mario Galaxy, I am racking up the lives so easily in that game. It's so much easier than the other ones. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm on the 4th level and I've got 25 lives or something.
Nice.
Like, what the fuck? Like, what is that? But yeah, and Mario Sunshine's got the weirdest storyline. I forgot how strange that storyline is. Like, about, like, the evil Shadow Mario is actually Bowser Jr., spoiler alert, and saying that Peach is his mum and stuff like that, and all this nonsense. But, yeah. Cool. It would have been nice if they added extra stuff in, but as it is, they brought the original games, and I can't really like complain about that. I guess
it's very minimal effort on Nintendo's part, but it is what people want, and they say that it's limited supply of it's only going to be. You're only going to be able to buy literally the physical and the digital version through March of 2021.
Yeah, I think it's bullshit.
I don't know why this is blowing so many people's minds. That's so that they can release them individually and charge you probably $30 for each game, people. It's not, I would shit. That's what they're going to do.
If they do that, then okay, I guess. Like, that's, yeah. But if they just cancel it and take away forever, I'll be like, that's so bullshit.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. I'm not saying like Nintendo's the only greedy corporation in the world. I'm just saying it's sort of...
Yeah.
So you said they're only allowing it digitally until March as well. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is the collection anyway, which I'm sure that means they're going to put them out individually in some other way, shape, or form. So I feel like part of this collection was like, let's get something out that can be sold during the holidays for this holiday season because we don't have a new console or anything,
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't necessarily fault them for that because this is supposed to be kind of like an anniversary collection that they're putting out in celebration of, the anniversary. So I think it makes sense. And going forward, they're saying is like, we're not going to have this anniversary bundle in here forever. This is in celebration. So after, this year is over, we'll all have them digitally for purchasing separately, but they're not going to be part of a bundle.
What is the anniversary?
30,
it's Mario's
years of Mario. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So not the anniversary of the actual 3D games, just the anniversary of Mario. Okay.
No, the 3D All Stars isn't just for celebrating his birthday. They have a bunch of other crap going on for celebrating his birthday. They're doing that AR Mario Kart thing. They're doing Mario Kart 35, which is like Tetris 99, but everybody plays through the first Mario against each other. This was all in a Nintendo Mario 35th Direct.
Okay, I don't watch those Nintendo Direct things.
You should. They're honestly the best way to keep up with stuff because they're short, succinct bursts of things, and they're no more than like.
I've watched that. Well, I've watched a handful of them, and I'm just like, I don't care. Basically, sorry, I don't care.
Well, that's
I'm not
a
that
good way
big a
to tie into
Nintendo
the
fan.
next topic. Oh, sorry.
Oh man. Well, actually, Chris, sorry, buddy. What is your pick of the week?
Originally, I was going to be the first one to start this bit. Now I'm the last one, but that's okay. I've been playing Tales of Vesperia, the definitive edition. Now, this game came out like way back in the day. I think it was like 2008 or something on the 360 and PS3. I never played it back then. Did you ever play that?
I think there has a few Tales games, weren't there? I think it was Tales of Vesperia I started playing, and I stopped after about 10 minutes because I did not enjoy it.
Okay.
Like maybe half an hour. I think.
I got it.
Scotty's showing us.
Look at that. Unless, was there another one? I'm sure there's more than one.
I think there's a lot of Tales series.
There's at least one or two Tales games per system. I'm trying to find
Tales of Symphonia was the one I played. Sorry, not Vesperia.
That's why I got Tales of Vesperia. But also, you get to play as a goddamn dog in this game. Repeat or whatever his name is. It's not
I've never
dog that smokes a pipe.
Yeah, he's pretty cool and uses like a knife when he fights and stuff. But so I've never played these games. This is the first Tales game I've ever played. I basically have been in kind of an RPG kick over the past week or two. I've been playing some Time Stalkers on Dreamcast, but I had my Switch. I was like, I want to find a game that I could kind of hang out at night, like before bed. Play a chill RPG. So I started looking on the eShop, and the two that caught my eye were Ni no Kuni, which is on sale for like $15 right now, and also Tales of Vesperia, which is also on sale for $15 right now. So you get pretty deep for those. Like I said, going in, I had no idea what these games were about. But I'll say there's a really heavy emphasis on anime-style cutscenes, and they're done really, really well. I don't know what the old version looks like on the Xbox 360 and the PS3, like how good the graphics look back then. But here on the Switch, like they look amazing. Like all the character designs, like I love the way that the characters look. They look unique, but still kind of in an anime aesthetic. And the graphics are kind of a cel-shaded look, but they complement the actual anime characters and design really well. Like they all look, exactly kind of like what they look like in the anime cutscenes and stuff. So it's really cool from that perspective. The fighting system is kind of like a real time combat, but it seems to be really basic in that you really, at least in the early game, I'm about 5 hours in. You really only have like a hit button, and then you have another button to use like a magic or skill, depending on the different like way you point your analog stick will do different spells or abilities. And so it seems fairly basic, but also it takes a lot of like trying to get used to it. It's definitely not. I don't feel like it's really easy for newcomers. The battle system, but it does come with this DLC starter pack that I wanted to tell you about because it makes the game like ridiculous. I'm only adding in like the really over the top stuff. It has all sorts of items and spells and other things and that you can get for your character. But you can get 300,000 gold. You can unlock those like 3 or 4 different times with this starter pack. Then there are things to do, just auto leveling. You get like 5 different auto levels plus 5 levels. So from the very beginning of the game, you could just use these, and you're already like a level 40. And there's also 2 plus level 10s, and it raises for all your characters. And so like, if you wanted, like, you could just use that right in the early game, and you would be like level 90 almost, and you could just breeze through most of the game. So I don't know why they did that. I used
a grinding pack.
Maybe, yeah, because you're probably, yeah, I mean, using that, you don't even have to grind, really. And so I did use a couple of the plus 5 levels, and so my characters are like level 20 right now. And then I stopped doing it because I was like, all the combat is just super easy. And I'm going to another crazy thing is because like if you level up in order one by one, like your characters gain new spells and skills. Mm-hmm. But if you just go ahead and just do like 2 like plus like level 5 item packs, so you're basically going up like 10 levels. The next time you go into a battle, all your characters start unlocking these things that would have unlocked each time. So it's just crazy in battle because there's just pop-up windows everywhere and you have no idea what's going on, and the characters are using all these new abilities. Shit's going off. Like, it looks like a damn like 4th of July like party. It's crazy. But I'm liking the game so far. It's very kind of chill. It's exactly what I was looking for. Just something that you can kind of just relax, and you're not having to do like a ton of work in. You're not having to pay super attention to it. I'm enjoying it. So cool. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you ever, I don't know if Scotty, if you said you played it much.
I didn't play this one that much. I played through Tales of Symphonia. It's one of the few JRPGs I've actually finished. And one of my old roommates and I, we tried to play through Tales. What is this one? The first Tales of Xillia, I think. And what I say, or what I mean when I say we, because the battles are all co-op. You can do up to 4 player.
Yeah, that's cool.
In the battles. I don't know if you knew that, Chris, or if they might have taken that out. I hope not on the Switch version. But
I think it did. It does support 4 players, and so that kind of confused me. I'm like, I don't even know how that would work.
Yep, it's only in the battles because if people aren't sure, all the Tales games, and I'm not a fan of turn-based battles. Those always bored me in JRPG or in RPGs in general. The Tales games switch it up because you have essentially a closed-off area where you're fighting in real time. You can run around and hit an attack button, a spell button, heal button. I think you can assign things to buttons if I remember correctly. But so if I played it by myself, I'd be the tank essentially in my crew of 4 people, and I'd have someone far back doing like projectile attacks, and someone far back who's the healer of the crew, and then another one maybe would be the melee guy to go in with me. But you can play it up to 4 player, and everybody's running around in battles. It's totally unfair, but running around in battles like, let's all attack this guy, let's do this. It almost turns it into an MMO, but couch co-op style. But then when you're on the hub world, it's just one person running around as the main party leader guy.
That would be such a cool way of playing through an RPG with like 3 other people. Like, I would never have thought of like doing that with an RPG, but that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's how. Like I said, one of my roommates and I, we tried to play through Xillia, but it turned into playing once a week to once a month to whenever we remembered we were playing this game. So you just have to keep up.
Okay.
Because otherwise, it's a JRPG. You're really going to lose where you are and everything.
Yeah.
So actually, that one, Xillia, I don't know if it was the first one, but it started quest logs in the Tales series where you can read the most recent one and it'll tell you where to go and stuff. But yeah, I like the Tales games because I wasn't a fan of turn-based stuff. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I guess that'll do it for our picks of the week, and we're now moving on to our feature discussion. And welcome back. We're now moving on to our feature discussion of the week, which is, coming off the back of the PlayStation 5 event that happened, where they gave off some more of the games and the prices. We are going to discuss which company has done a better job leading up to the next console generation. Is it the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X? So I guess we'll open up to the floor. Scotty.
Well, guys, I don't really have much to say about these, so I'm going to go get my buddy, Old Man Gamer. His friends call him OMG. Ha, hilarious. So I'll be back. I mean, he'll be back. See you later.
All right, well, I guess we'll see Scotty or Old Man Gamer here in a minute.
Yeah, hopefully Scotty will come back later. But let's check out OMG. OMG. While Old Man Gamer's getting ready, let's run down the prices. So as we said, the Sony announced the price of the PlayStation. Xbox has already previously announced the prices, so we're excited to see what it's going to cost. And it seems the PlayStation 5 is comparable to the Xbox Series X price-wise. So both them in dollars is $499. In pounds, they're both £449, and in euros, they're both €499. And then there's a slight difference though in the disk drive-less versions. So the PS5 digital is $399 or £359 or €399. The Xbox Series S, which is the the digital version of the Xbox, is £299. $299, £249, or €299. So the Xbox Series S, the digital only version, is £100 or $100 cheaper. But the main events, the big ones, are the same price, which is pretty interesting, I think. Do you have any opinions on that at all, Chris, going in?
Well, I think for the top tier models, I think it makes sense that you have the PS5, the Xbox Series X. They're both at that like $500 mark. I think that's to be expected. I was expecting it to be right around there. I thought there's no way they could reach $399. With the right out of the gate. So $499 is like right where I expected it to be. I think the more interesting is the second tier models from both Sony and Microsoft, because you have the PS5 digital version, which is essentially has the same internals and capabilities and features as your base PS5, but it just doesn't have like an optical drive in there. So it's only going to be playing digital games. Whereas with the Xbox Series S, it's essentially from a capability standpoint, it's kind of a lower tier model. You could basically compare it maybe to like the Xbox One X compared to like the Xbox One S with this current generation. So it's like you basically have the top tier model and you have a second tier. So that's, I think, the most interesting aspect in this discussion. It's like which of these like second tier models make the most sense? Would it be the PS5 because you're basically getting the best, the best capabilities, but in a cheaper model, so you can still play at 4K, do all that stuff, but that's $400, or the Xbox Series S, which is still going to be able to play all the same games, but if you don't have a crazy like 4K Ultra HD TV in your house, that you don't need all the 4K stuff, you can get the Xbox Series S for $300, and you can still play all the cool games, like your friends are playing, and you still have a new system, but it's really at a very big discount from the $500 Xbox Series X.
Yeah, and that is quite something that's quite fascinating because I wasn't sure what to be honest, I wasn't sure what the Xbox was going to do initially. I thought the Series S might be like what Sony has done. It would be the same thing, just without a disc. But then when the Xbox Series S was revealed and they showed that it was going to be less powerful, but able to still run the same games, but just, I guess, not as optimally. I sort of thought, oh, maybe Sony's going to go that route because I knew they were going to PS5 digital, but then they went, we're actually going to have exactly the same thing but no disc. So that was actually quite interesting for me. But I'm glad, in a way, Xbox or Microsoft was able to have their Series S at a lower price point than all of them, because I feel like, well, for Xbox fans, if they had it at the same price as the PS5 digital, that would be a no-brainer, really. PS5 digital would be the better option, effectively, because it's the same power, just no disc. So yeah, I think it's going to be quite interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a console launch that's had the price exactly the same for each the main rivals. Like, have you ever seen that?
I'm trying to think, like, maybe back
I tell you, they're all too expensive. That's what I say. Old man gamer here. Old man gamer.
God.
I got to wear these large glasses because you kids in your H2 Hummers are making the holy ozone layer bigger and I can't see anything now. I tell you, the PS5 and the X-Men Series X aren't looking like anything I loved back in my day. You had your fun furry creatures and your Bronx plumbers going at it with the consoles, and it was all good and fine. Nothing looks fun. It's all nickel and diming you with those new hats and coats, which I hate, even though I love fine hats. Look at my fine hat. And you giving me when my dad came over on the Mayflower, he had to go work in the steel mills, and we had one console, and it was one console per home.
Wow, OMG, welcome, old man gamer.
So I take it, old man gamer, you're not very excited about the new generation of consoles coming out soon.
I want to get spooked by those werewolves and maybe play some Spider-Man, but I don't care about anything else at all.
Wow,
too many graphics. I don't have my 8K. I still got what you kids called the boob tube.
See, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was saying earlier, OMG, is that for someone that doesn't have a 4K TV, maybe the Xbox Series S, which is the cheapest of the next generation of consoles at $299, that could be something for maybe someone like you, that you don't care about all the bells and whistles. You just want the core experience.
Looks like I can fry an egg on it, so that's fine with me.
It can play your favorite video games and cook you breakfast. All in one.
That's all. Well, that's what the woman's for, but that's fine too.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Really old school, man. Okay.
So I guess what were you going to say, Graham?
I was going to say, should we look into the different launch titles and such?
Yeah. Let's look at the different launch titles, because basically there's going to be a lot of games available at launch for both systems, retail games. And I was kind of surprised looking through this list because it's more than I thought it was going to be, but most of it's all going to be available on both systems at launch.
Right.
I guess the ones we should maybe talk about are just what are the exclusive titles at launch for each system, and then we can kind of talk about it from there. I'll say the PS5 ones, and Graham, I'll let you do the Xbox Series X ones.
Okay, that sounds fair.
So for PlayStation 5, we have Godfall, which is a console exclusive. It's going to be available on PC. We have the Miles Morales Spider-Man game, which will also be on PS4. So if you have a PS4, you can play it there. And then Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which is also going to be on the PS4 as well at launch. So I guess there are also a few others. Astro's Playroom will be one. Demon Souls and Destruction All-Stars are other exclusive games.
Okay. So are those last couple actually launch titles, or are they just, we know they're exclusive?
These are the PS5 launch out exclusives. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I didn't put that on the outline. It's on this. Actually, I'll just drop it in here.
This other list you have.
Yeah, it's my other list. Click that, and you'll see. Because this list basically breaks it down between the PS5 launch title exclusives, console exclusives, and like all the systems.
Okay.
All the games coming out both. So
Cool. Did you want to just go through the other launch titles that are not exclusive, or do you want me to do the Xbox ones?
you do the Xbox exclusive ones, and then we'll just
Okay.
quickly go down what's going to all the multi-console.
Cool.
Releases.
Xbox Series X and S launch console exclusives. You got Forza Horizon 5, which is also going to be on PS5 and Xbox One. Gears 5, also on PC and Xbox One. Oh, wait, it's Gears 5. That's the one that's already out, isn't it?
Yeah, because these are already
okay.
it's already on those, but it's also
Okay.
going to be on PS5 or
Fair
I'm
enough.
sorry, Xbox.
Yeah, everything was backwards compatible when I played games.
And in fact, I think a lot of these are probably already out. That are
I guess. Oh, sorry, just losing got a frog in my throat there. So Gears Tactics, which is also out. That's on PC and Xbox One. The Falconeer, also on PC and Xbox One. Tetris Effect Connected, which is also PC and Xbox One. Wow.
I played Tetris, I know that one.
Yes, Tetris is back, old man gamer. It's still going strong.
Yes, Tetris.
You can actually colours on the blocks now. Excellent. And then I guess, so the other launch titles that are coming out but are not exclusives, we've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was a big one. Like Xbox Series X showed that off in their events, but even though it's not exclusive, they're like, yeah, check this stuff out. Destiny 2 Beyond Light, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Dirt 5, Fortnite, Madden NFL 21, Marvel's Avengers, NBA 2K21, Watchdog Legions, and on the PlayStation 5 they've got Observer System Redu, or Redux. See, I think that's the original way of saying that word is Redu, because it's a French word, but everyone in America says Redux, so okay. And on Xbox, a launch title is Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is not coming out straight away on PS5, but it's going to be on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and also Observer System Redux, plus all the others like Assassin's Creed Destiny and stuff that we just mentioned. So it looks like the only difference there actually is Yakuza, really, being not an exclusive, but being a launch title on Xbox. So I guess, yeah, Xbox technically is getting more games coming out on it. However,
but it's all just stuff that's like already available.
That's literally what I was about to say, Chris. You just blew me out of the water there. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
My next words were going to
water
be
in the war.
my next words were going to be, however, the PS5 seems to have more exclusive titles that are going to be, even if they're on PS4, they are just PlayStation exclusive. So, yeah. And also they're not ones that are really out right now. These are future games, whereas a lot of the Xbox ones seem to be ones that have already come out this year. So it's a bit strange. What do you think of this, old man gamer? Like, how are you thinking of it?
Fortnite in my Dirt 5. I actually don't know what that is.
Okay.
Scotty told me he didn't want Fortnite in anything.
I did it in just a like to criticize the Xbox and saying like all their stuff. I think that's a criticism across the board on both like Sony and Microsoft's part, because if you look at most of these games are just basically like remasters or even just they are porting it over from like last gen consoles. So there's just honestly across the board there's not a ton where I'm like, oh my god, I really really have to play that. Godfall on the PS5 looked cool. I mean that Miles Morales Spider-Man game looks cool, but if I never played it, I would be fine. And I don't know, man. There's not a lot where I'm like looking at it right now, and like I really, really need to play it on that.
Yeah. I
What about you? Like,
say.
is there something that like what of these launch titles are does anything get you excited?
So this is the thing. I feel like the launch titles, reading the list, no, not really. Yeah, like Yakuza Like a Dragon, maybe. That's probably actually one that I would like to go for. Like if I was to get, because originally it was going to be Halo, but as we all know, Halo's been delayed, so it's not going to be a launch title anymore. So Yakuza Like a Dragon is probably the one that does get me the most excited, because I just like the Yakuza games. But yeah, it's been a struggle really, this one. Old Man Gamer, do any of these games interest you? Is it just Tetris or?
I think it's the only one.
I wasn't kidding. I really don't know what Dirt 5 Fortnite is. Is Fortnite in Dirt 5 now? What's going on with that?
No, they're two different games.
Those are different games.
Oh, you kids and your graphs and your pie charts, delicious pie. Oh, I remember we'd make the pie and we'd set it on the windowsill and let it cool and it'd be wonderful. I think I've overstayed my welcome as this hilarious character, so I'm going to bring Scotty back in.
Oh, man.
Wow. Just to point out for the listeners and the audience, we have a list, and Dirt 5 and Fortnite are on two separate lines. I don't know how we confuse that.
Dirt 5 Fortnite.
Oh, dear. I'd play that.
That does not
Man. So, yeah, I guess, Chris, to answer talk about our main discussion.
I told you can't say stuff like that. Women are, it's equal now. I don't think that's how it really is. All right, get out. You're never coming. But
Let's not talk to him about who he's going to be voting for.
Get out of here. Sorry about that, guys. He's a bit of a confused old man. So
I was afraid you guys were going to get into politics next and maybe ask who he's going to be voting for.
He's trying to vote for Reagan again right now. So,
okay.
Wow.
Well, by some of his answers there, it seems like he might be a bit out of touch. So I can understand.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see the elder generation's perspective for once. So
no, it's not.
Oh man.
Boy.
But I guess to answer the question, which company do you think has actually done a better job leading up to the launch? Which one has made you actually? I'm a bit more excited, even if maybe you're not going to get it. You might just. I did
have one other thought on this before we go into that, because this is directly related to the PS5 digital edition, and so I'm just wondering, how much are you going to be really saving if you save $100 off the bat and you get only the digital edition? Because you got to think about it. At that point, you are locked in to buying these games from Sony and only Sony, and you're buying it from only their ecosystem. And so essentially,
at the same price as a physical game too. Exactly,
and that leads into my point: is you're not going to be. You're not going to enjoy the benefits of, like a capitalistic ecosystem anymore. You're stuck with Sony, and whatever they price it at, you're going to have to buy those games. Whereas if you get the physical edition, you can buy these games at GameStop, at Best Buy. You can still buy it digitally from Sony if you want. You could buy it anywhere. And these companies are competing with each other, and so they're going to have different markdowns and different things like that. So if you think you're really saving money, if you're buying the PS5 and you want to go for the digital edition because you need to save the money, I would say buy the $500 PS5 because you're going to save more money over the lifetime of the system, because you're going to be able to buy cheap games, at GameStop or used games. But you're not going to be able to do that on the digital edition because you have to buy them from the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have good deals, but other times, like if maybe you want to go back and play a game like Tales of Vesperia because you just get the itch to do it, but it's not on sale right now, and it's still like $40 when you could go to GameStop and buy it used for $15.
Did you guys mention Game Pass though, and whatever Sony's doing?
Not yet. That was something I was going to bring up actually in a little bit, but you make a great point there, Chris. Because like just buying secondhand games is out of the question for you, I guess, and lending games to friends, I guess, is kind of out of the question. You can't really pop around to your mate's house and be like, "Oh, I've got this new PS5 game. Do you want to pop it in?" Wait, I can't because you don't have a disc drive in that thing.
Yeah, and that's not to say that people are only going to buy the PS5 digital edition because they want to save the money. I'm not saying that's the only reason why people are doing that. I think there's a lot of people out there that just like, I don't care about going and buying a disc. When it comes out, I can preload it on my system. I can buy it digitally, and like right at midnight, my favorite game's available. I can play it, and that's all I care about. It's the convenience, and that's worth it for them. And so having, like a $400 system that you're not having to pay, the bloated price for an optical drive, pay another $100. So I do think there's a segment of the demographic out there that the PS5 digital edition is perfect for. Now, how big of that in the whole pie chart, if we want to talk about pie charts again, of that demographic, I'm not sure. I don't know if it'd be worth it, to be honest, but I do think that there is a segment of the population out there that this is targeted at.
Yeah. And I also wonder if this is going to cause problems for especially younger gamers who maybe can't afford to buy these consoles themselves. They have to rely on parents and, birthday and Christmas presents. If this will cause confusion, they want the PS5 or Xbox Series X, the main one, but the parents see, the Xbox Series S, this plays all the same games and it's like $200 cheaper or something. Why don't I get that? And it's not, as we've just spoken about, the Series S is a less powerful console compared to the Series X. I mean, it's going to play the same games, but we know that it's got no disc drive.
There's some bad kids on Christmas that get some fucking Xbox Series S, and like, what? You got me the Series S? This sucks. Jimmy got a Series X, and I have to get a Series S. That's what's going to happen. You're going to have pissed off kids that, because kids care about this stuff. Like, that's why on Fortnite, they sell, these skins for $15, $20, and kids are buying them because they care about, like, what they look like in video games and stuff. And for them, and so I think it does matter to young kids of getting a Series X, getting that top-tier console versus getting a gift and you get a Series S and you're opening it out on your birthday.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle because more GameStop stores are closing. That was in the news. We don't need to go into that. But like if you go to, and if we rewind to when I mentioned that parents aren't going to know which system their kids already have, and they're not going to know they don't have the diskless thing. So like, Chris is the exception where he knows all the consoles his kids have. So he'll walk in, he'll grab something. He knows what each of them need and whatever. But there's going to be mom and dad or clueless grandparents that walk in and they're like, I know he likes the God of War, but maybe this is the generation that little Jimmy went all download. So they buy him the new God of War Ragnarok, hand him the disc for Christmas. But the games, they're not buying it at GameStop. They're just cruising into a Walmart or Target. The clerk's saying, you want this? All right, cool. But at GameStop, people are going to be like, do they have this? Do they need this thing? Do they have whatever? Do they even play games? Do you have internet at your house? Like,
yeah.
And then that tailors into how lame is Christmas going to be for, I don't know, this might be splitting hairs, but like the kids that have an all digital system, like all they're going to unwrap is a PS or a Xbox gift card. It's so boring.
You're going to get lots of accessories, like lots of bullshit, accessories that you don't need.
Right. It's a very strange cycle that we're getting into, and this is what they wanted to do last generation. There was talk of both consoles having no disc drives, not varying models, but just no disc drive. I know that. So I think Microsoft might have been in harder talks than that than Sony, but I forgot my initial question that I was answering now.
I have a scenario I want to throw at you guys that's directly related to this. So if you're GameStop, if you're Best Buy, what is it like? What's in it for you to stock a PS5 digital console when you know that you're basically selling that unit and you're getting no revenue outside of that one sell? And with the consoles trying to push everything digital, you have stores like GameStop that are fighting to stay alive by selling physical retail products. I guess one thing that it's not the same, but a lot of game stores over here, especially, they sell the
little cards with the digital codes to download a game on like
Yeah.
the Xbox or PlayStation at the moment. So, like my brother one Christmas got me Rare Replay. He didn't buy me the disc though because it actually sold out, but he got me the little card for the same price basically. So I mean that was not as cool for me, but at the same time I was like, oh, this is quite nice. I do get to open something, and I get to put the code in and I get to download the game. So they could.
Oh, was
start
it a code
focusing
for
on
the
that.
game, or was it a code for that amount of points?
No, it's a code for the game. You actually get cards for the game
Oh,
specifically.
that's different than over here. Okay, interesting.
Have I got it on my shelf? I have it on my shelf still. Wait. Where's it? Oh, wait, my Xbox One stuff's up there.
Because you could only, at least when I worked at GameStop, even though you were selling like, and I remember this vividly when they first started like the section of download cards, because I bought for my girlfriend at the time. She just got a 360 and we were going to play the Ninja Turtles arcade game online. So I bought her a card with that picture on it. But actually, since I worked there, I just took the card. I got the okay to do that, even though you get a number on a download code on your receipt. And even then, it was only for like 800 Microsoft points. It wasn't for specifically the game. So that's why, like, I felt dumb. Like, I don't want to just give her 800 MS points. That doesn't feel cool. So I actually took the card and like wrapped that up. And I was like, we can play this game together, that kind of thing. Because that was at least something.
Yeah, so
But
I've actually
that's
lost...
interesting. That's for the specific game. Mhm.
I've lost the actual game card they gave me, but I've got the receipt still and a little gift wallet. So
Game. It says, oh, no, that's the store, though. I thought it just said game generically on there.
But even on the receipt, it actually has the code for the game itself. So that's quite handy. So even if you do lose, but yeah, it's like you can buy a little card that says like the game name on it. It's got a code that you scratch off. And so yeah, that's one thing game stores are selling over here, which kind of takes it out, I guess, the Microsoft ecosystem in a way, because in theory, game could sell that game for £10 cheaper than you get on the store, even though it's a digital code. Although I'm not sure if they would do that. Sorry, what do you mean?
You mean physically? Sell it $10 cheaper physically?
Like they've got the card. They sell the cards in store. They pay like they can price those cards in store what they want to. In theory, if that makes sense, like a game.
Really?
Well, why not? It's they.
That's illegal. Because you would be. Are we talking? We might not be talking about the same thing. Because I'm talking about like
the card for the code for the game itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
because see, all we have over here
cost though.
What's that?
The only thing we would have over here is you would buy different increments of Microsoft points. That dumb weird system.
I'm talking about for what we do over here, where you can buy the game, but it's the code for the game. You basically buy a little card that says, I don't know, God of War on it. You take that home. Jimmy scratches off the back of the card. It's got a code on it. You type that code in. He's got God of War. He can't get any other game. Yeah. He's got God of War. In the physical store, they can, in theory, price those little cards that say God of War on it at what they want to. If that makes sense. I mean, it's not fucked up. It's how they would do it. It's basically them. There's no difference them having the card and a physical game, like being like, you can get this. Hold on a second. There's one little card thing.
I guess the way I'm seeing it,
you could buy this game for $11.99, or you can buy this unlockable downloadable code also for $11.99. But on the digital store, this might be £15 or something. Is that? Am I just talking?
I understand what you're saying.
I feel like I know as old man Scotty come back or something. What's going on?
No, I'm talking about legitimate business practices, because that, to me, what you're saying is you could walk into a GameStop, see that $20 Microsoft point card, which is equal to like 1,800 points, whatever their weird system was that they, thank God, got rid of. You guys remember that though, right? Like 230 points equal to $1 or something. So what I'm saying is, what you sound like you're saying to me is walk in for $20, you'd get a $2,000 Microsoft point game, or let's say it's like Castle Crashers. Let's say it's it's Castle Crashers. I grabbed that DLC card for Castle Crashers. That's $20. I hand it to them. They scan the back. It shoots out a code on the receipt, and maybe that's for Castle Crashers. But those cards are supplied to them by Microsoft, so they cannot change the prices on those things, because that's essentially selling a game cheaper on their download service than what Microsoft wants to.
My understanding is, maybe I don't know how the business model works. Maybe I am incorrect there, but if a computer game store is going out of business, they want to sell off all their stuff. They can drop down the price of a physical game, and my understanding is they can also do that with those cards as well. Because
I don't think that's I don't know if that's correct. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I could be
saying
wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
That sounds like some shady shit.
Let me finish the rest of my thought because
no,
this was a two-parter, and then I got interrupted, and you guys went down.
I am so sorry, Chris. Yeah.
It makes me feel better for interrupting you earlier, so it's fine.
Okay, good.
We're even. No, what I was going to say though is so now you have GameStop that's like fighting off this a gradual change to an all digital world. But what I was going to suggest, and like I wanted to like throw it to you guys to see what you thought, is like when you go now and buy a Blu-ray like DVD or Blu-ray copy of a movie, oftentimes you open that movie and you get the disc, and you also get a digital code to unlock that thing. So now you can go onto like an app on your like Roku or Fire Stick or whatever, and you can just open that app, and your code, your movies, your digital movies library is right there. What I was going to say is like, what if GameStop started, making deals with publishers? Because I think that's probably how you have to maybe work it. And there's probably a lot more, behind the scenes stuff that you have to do. But what if they started doing that with physical games, where you could get a physical copy, but you'd also get a digital code as well that you could unlock and tie it to your account. So then that way, maybe later on you trade the game in to GameStop and you get your $20 credit or whatever, but you could still keep the digital code tied to your account after maybe like a 6-month period of time or something like that. That way you stop the people that basically come around, buy the game, turn around and trade it in, and you keep the digital code and you stop that.
How can they police that though? Because if I buy the game and I put the digital game thing
because you're buying it, you're buying it from GameStop, and you're not going to be able to trade it in at a GameStop. So
I see. So it would be GameStop that polices that. Okay.
Yeah, I would say this would be a GameStop, like program basically that, and then like you buy it from GameStop, you're getting the physical and digital code. And then if you're going to trade it in, where else are you trading games anymore? I don't know if any of the other companies still do that. I know GameStop does. And so GameStop's where everyone trades stuff in at.
We got the mom and pop stores like Warp Zone.
Sure. I don't know if does GameStop care about Warp Zone though?
No.
I think they're trying to get in a little piece of their business by doing the used game stuff, but not in terms of like, selling, new retail games. They don't care about them.
That reminds me of if you buy a vinyl record, you get a code with it, because otherwise you can only listen to that record on your record player. So, but you already supported the band by paying for it. Because also, if you're like, I think of this way, when I buy a vinyl record, cool, I don't have a download code, so I'm going to go use Spotify that the band see like virtually no money from when I listen to their songs, but I bought their record. It's not exactly comparable, but I'm totally on board. Like if every game included a download code.
Yeah, I'm on board with that, but I feel like maybe this way madness lies. I'm not sure if there's the ecosystem of the games industry would survive. In my head, I feel like there's a big flaw there. I'm not sure why.
There's certainly some stuff that would have to get worked out. I'm not suggesting that.
I want to return this game. It doesn't work anymore. I didn't like it. You used was the download code in there? There was no download code in there. Sir, this was sealed when you bought it. See ya.
And so maybe it could be something that, like, in order to participate, you have to register maybe your Xbox gamer tag or something like that. And then the person, they can, I don't know, look and check that's like, oh, you registered it already on your fucking account. We can see that you activated it. And so, no, we aren't going to allow you to return this.
The thing is, in theory, people could I could do a deal with a mate down the road and be like, oh, we both got Xbox One, Series X's or whatever. Yeah. I'll buy this game. I've got no space in my flat, so I'll use the download code. You can have the physical game. Go halvesies. So
yeah, I'm sure people would do that, and people did the same thing when you could share your PlayStation username accounts and stuff like that, and so you'd activate your console at mine, or I'd activate Scotty's console, and he'd activate mine, and so now we're trading.
Do that, but all Sony was thinking was like, oh, they'll sync up their Vita to their PS3, and they were thinking everybody will be nice and legal with that.
There's always going to be some way to skirt the system, and so you just have to find a way that it's, I think, from a business perspective, that it's livable with. Like, you can live with this small percentage of people that are going to get free shit or team up with the buddy, but does it make sense on a large scale? But beyond that, that's, I think that was a fun, maybe side conversation. But just to answer the question, we'll go around the room. Graham, which company do you think has done a better job? And ultimately, which console are you going to go with? And either at launch, or when's the first console you're going to get, maybe post-launch?
So I do actually feel Xbox has done a better job leading up to it. I feel like the reveals they've done have just been that little bit better. I'm not sure if everyone would agree with me on that, but I feel like the timing of them showing off the actual console, what it looks like, to some of the games that's coming on it, not necessarily the launch games, but they showed some games coming up, which I thought was really good. Then they had another session where they showed off more of the launch games. And then they revealed the price of the console. So they did that all a little bit earlier than like Sony, it seemed. And I feel like it smooths over some of the crap that happened with the Xbox One launch, where they're like, oh, you're going to do this cool idea about, blocking people's accounts and stuff if they don't log onto the internet every day or something. And everyone was like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. Also, the Xbox One's going to be really expensive and the PlayStation 4 is going to be more powerful but cheaper. All that stuff. Like from memory, the PlayStation 4 was a little bit cheaper, or the same price, but the Xbox One was
I think it was $100 cheaper.
Yeah, it's like something.
Out the camera of the PS4.
Yeah, that was it. Xbox was like, every game's gonna have Kinect, it's gonna be amazing. Blah, 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 blah. But wait, actually,
scan your skateboard.
Yeah, I love the idea of the Kinect, but it just did not work out. Like the general premise, I thought this sounds like it could be cool. It's got some cool features, but yeah, it did not.
I will say the one thing, I'm just going to jump in because I'll forget it.
Yeah.
The one thing I liked about the Kinect more than the Sony thing, eventually Sony did this though, was how you could say Xbox record that or whatever.
Okay.
That was just easier to spit that out quicker than hitting a button and holding it down and messing up your gameplay. That's my short tangent.
Anyway, but yeah, so yeah, I think they smoothed over a lot of stuff. It's a shame that Halo, the flagship title for the console, is not coming out anymore, but I guess I'd rather than have a finished, better looking game than one that's maybe not so good. I like the PlayStation 5's PlayStation Plus collection idea. I feel it's probably not quite there compared to Game Pass. I feel like Game Pass is actually a really solid thing. I think it's really impressive. But for people like me who never really got to play on the PlayStation 4, it basically seems to be just a list of top PlayStation 4 games, which I guess a lot of people might have played if they're big Sony fans. But I have.
Now you can play Detroit Become Human.
Woohoo! Yes. Other games on PlayStation, I think Oddworld seems cool. The Harry Potter game looks okay. Miles Morales, I like the Spider-Man games in general. I think that should be good. But otherwise, I'm not bothered about PlayStation 5. Xbox Yakuza does excite me more than any of the other games I've seen on both consoles. I just like Yakuza. I think it's really cool. I'd love to play that game. And I think personally, I just think the Xbox looks nicer. It's not about what the console looks like at the end of the day, but if I was to have one in my room and show it off, I'd rather have an Xbox. But so I'm going to say Xbox, although I feel like I'm not as excited for this generation as I had been for other generations. As we went through that list of games, I feel like most of these games are either on other consoles or they're old, last generation games. I feel like nothing new's coming out this generation at launch. It's just kind of like, well, I know great games are coming out, but yeah. And then, there was one other thing I was going to say. I can't remember what it was. Oh, that was it. The Xbox Series S, I guess. Could talk about Game Pass very briefly. I guess the Xbox Series S, even though it's less powerful, it seems, at least over in the UK, they're trying to pitch that, almost selling it like a mobile phone contract, where you can buy. You buy it for like £20.
I think that's everywhere.
Oh, is it everywhere? Okay, that's cool because you spend like £20 a month or something, and you get the Xbox Series S, but you also get Game Pass Ultimate, so you get access to over 100 games. I think, like for some people, that's a really cheap option. It's like wow, I can spend £20 a month and I've got all these games out of the box straight away. That's amazing. So
I think that's for both the X and the S, right?
Over here, I've only seen the S advertised with that deal because it's like £20 a month, and you get the console and the Game Pass Ultimate. And I think it's like a 2-year. It's almost like a 2-year contract type thing. At the end of 2 years, you've got the console, and you get to keep the games and stuff. Obviously, you get the. Yeah, I don't know, but I haven't seen that for the Series X. Yeah. So anyway, long answer shortened. Maybe the Xbox?
Impossible. Maybe the Xbox. Oh, so it's a hard maybe?
I felt like Yakuza's the only game that's really excited me on the Xbox at the moment.
Are you doing it launch day, though? That's my question. Are you doing either of these launch day?
I was thinking of Xbox at launch day, and now I'm not so sure. I may wait at least a couple of months and see what
Interesting.
happens. Maybe get it for Christmas instead. You know,
that's interesting. For those, if this is your first episode of the podcast ever with the Megavision show, that's a big deal coming from Graham because he just talks about his xCloud and he loves Bill Gates.
Of course I do.
He's the most ardent of Xbox fanboys as they come. So I'll say that honestly, I don't think either company has done a very good job. Of communicating to their audience of like what these systems are going to be and stuff. It just seems like I think both companies were so scared to show their hand, to show what it is, and risk the other company coming in after them and either undercutting them on price or specs or something. So what ended up happening is they waited right until the very last minute that they could to start actually giving out details. Think about this. Like the PlayStation 5 reveal for the price happened this past week, and we're only a couple months away from these things like coming out. That's ridiculous. That's like that's just not how business
actually not even done. A couple of months. It's September 20th and these are due out early November.
Yeah. Like the 12th or something.
Not even 2 months away.
Exactly. And it's coming up very quickly. I still haven't seen that that whole thing that you usually see. Usually it's at E3, but it's like someone on stage with the system, with the controller in their hand. They put a disc in, it boots up on a giant screen, and you watch them play it. Like, I've yet to see that on either.
We haven't seen the actual dashboards yet, have we?
No, haven't. Right.
And I want to see someone demoing all that stuff. Like I want EA to come in and show like what are these awesome sports apps that no one's ever going to use and they're going to abandon in a year. There's been none of that. And so I feel like there's not the pop and circumstance. There's not, the recognizable people from either company that that always talk about these new systems. They haven't been around. And it just seems like with COVID and everything else, like it's just no one's that excited about it. And you're right, with like a very lackluster launch lineup from both companies, and that all equals to just I think people aren't as excited for these as you think they would be. And for me, the loss of Halo was a big deal because I was all on Series X. I was like, I'm going to get the Series X. I love Game Pass. Of all the games that I want to play at launch or near launch, Halo's the one I want, and so I'll buy it for that. But then when they delayed it at that point, then I'm looking at it again. I'm like, what is it that I really, really want? And there's not a lot there. So to say that though, I think after the Sony PS5 reveal this past week, I think I'm leaning towards a PS5. I think that they're doing a really good job of getting some solid titles. And you've got Sony's first person or first
party.
Thank you. God damn it. Sony's first party is untouchable. Like they're so good. And so you're going to have all of those great games. So I think over the long haul, the PS5 is where I'm going to go. But when Halo and some other really good games come out on the Xbox, I'm going to get an Xbox Series X as well. It's just a matter of time.
So are you saying you're going to get a PS5 at launch or you'll hold off a little bit?
I think I'm kind of like you, Graham. I think I'm going to hold off. I think I'm going to hold off on the first wave. I'm going to sit back at launch, and I'll be fine with it. And probably around Christmas time is probably when I'll pick one up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, Scotty, how about you?
I will say, yeah. So the reason I haven't said much is because this is where video games are right now. We found this quote: Final Fantasy 16, a new Final Fantasy adventure will be arriving on the PS5 as a console exclusive, as well as PC, and possibly Xbox One down the line. It's like, I need some sort of certainty with anything. What are you doing?
Yeah.
That aside, though, I've been less excited with every announcement coming out. Like, the only thing I cared about in the PS5 most recent look was Resident Evil 8, which I can just play on my PC probably, and the Miles Morales stuff, which I can do on my PS4 apparently. We talked about Halo Infinite, how that is a punch to the gut, and I do like the Halo games, but not open world. It's and like I even said, I confessed to my friend Sarah, who she and I worked at GameStop for years together, and we, like, to give an idea of where we were with our opinions, we basically stocked the Vita section in our store because she and I were the only ones like pre-ordering Vita stuff at one point. But I said to her, I'm like, I'm worried I just don't like video games anymore. And she's like, no, what it is there, a lot of games are pandering to the screaming children of today, and it's not so much the soul and everything that's put into them like they were. Nobody's taking as many risks, which is why I go with more indie stuff and a lot of like limited runs and physical runs of stuff. And I'm not super excited about this upcoming generation. I ended up getting a PS4 because it was free through my job. I don't know that happens anymore. The Xbox One I got with Halo 5 when it came out. I got that limited edition, and I traded it. I gave that edition to my buddy AJ, who's a huge Halo fan, and then I traded his Xbox in, so that someone would appreciate that crazy silver console and everything. But I'm not excited for anything happening, and it might have to do with the exclusives. The one thing that I thought of, people watching will see me go like, oh, because I thought, if anything, maybe I could get the Xbox One, the weakest version, so to speak, since that's only like $300 is a more reasonable thing in this difficult economy than like $400 or $500. But also, since I traded in my Xbox One so quickly, maybe that Series X, I could do that and like catch up on the Xbox One games that I missed and stuff.
Yeah.
I just thought of that right now. Like, that might be how some people go, since arguably they'll say PS4 won this generation, whatever. So maybe less people that grab the one could get that Series X version. I'm not getting anything at launch. I'm waiting to see. It's going to be very much a, what are my friends playing that I'll need to get to hop online and play with them.
Yeah.
And it's dumb to say, but I'm honestly more excited to get a Polymega than I would be either of these right now.
That's fair.
I already have my Polymega pre-ordered, so that's on its way. I can see myself, honestly, playing that more than either of these consoles if I got them both the same day.
Yeah, we did a watch party for the PS5 thing, and I was quiet most of the thing because I'm just like, care about Final Fantasy. Definitely never playing any of these Souls games because I don't want to get angry when I'm playing games. So that's just me. I'm just not excited for. I'm not excited for anything. Why am I living? No, it's different times, and I like my retro physical stuff. And neither of these consoles have strong. Oh, the question was who's been better communicating. Microsoft has very much been, you can play our games on whatever you want to. We don't care where, but you can play them. And if you want to get a Series X, go for it. But you can play these on PC. Whereas Sony has not communicated a lot. It's not that they never once said it's going to be backwards compatible. People really misreceived that somewhere. And I do think the PS Plus bonus, whatever it is a cool idea to start out with, because there are games in there that raised bars here and there, like between God of War. I know Detroit Become Human, David Cage is not whatever, but that game did stuff that others don't, and it did different things technically that was really impressive. But so I think that's a good place if everybody skips the PS4 exclusives. Like, check out these games that raise the bar in different areas, but it's not on par with Game Pass yet at all. It's going to take them. Microsoft has a stronger ecosystem. Sony has strong exclusives, but Microsoft's been way more clear about what they're doing. I feel like I'd rather hang out with Phil Spencer than I would whoever's heading Sony right now. If that says anything, you know?
Yeah. I think that's sort of where my head's been at. That I just feel like Xbox has been communicating things just a little bit better. Like, I'm not so super happy with their lineup at the moment, but I feel like they've just communicated things. I kind of know where I am with them. Whereas you say with PlayStation 5, what is the deal with backwards compatibility? Because I'm actually not sure. Is it just...
They've said that they have confirmed that the majority of the PlayStation 4 library works on it. They've not said anything about 1, 2, or 3. But also, the PS3 hardware is so difficult to... They didn't future-proof that thing. And the simplest example is how you can't change your username without actually losing some information, your gamer tag.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing for another time. But I think the PS2 is also difficult to emulate for, so that's really why, like, it's not as easy as popping in a PS1 disc into the PS2. It's so they've essentially said that hardware is impossible. They stopped making PS2 compatible PS3s because people were still buying PS2s when the PS3 was out, but also they were losing money on every PS3 that was launched essentially.
And we didn't get that in the UK. We had some games were emulatable. Some PS2 games are emulatable on PS3, but we didn't have the internal hardware that you had in America and Japan at launch. So I think like 10 games worked or something ridiculous. It's like not that impressive at all.
Interesting.
So yeah, we got screwed.
It would honestly be a deal breaker for me if the PS5 was fully backwards compatible to everything, because that would get rid of 3 consoles on my shelf right now.
Yeah, if that was the case, I would have jumped on PS5 immediately, basically. But
right.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's me.
I guess, Chris, have you got any last comments to say, or?
No, I think this console is going to be fine. This generation of consoles is going to be fine. I think it was just this would have all been different if coronavirus didn't happen. I'll say that. I'm very confident that if coronavirus and the whole pandemic didn't happen, we would be in a different place right now in terms of like how Sony and Microsoft went up to the reveals and everything. So gotta kind of understand that.
Have been delayed.
Right. So, but overall, right now at launch, I'm underwhelmed and I'm fine with sitting back a little bit. But hey, Poly Mega time, baby.
Woo, yeah, cool. Maybe we should bring back Old Man Gamer. He knows where it's at. Leave him in the cupboard. No, it's fine. Cool. I think that will do it for the show, the discussion, and the show this week. So thanks everyone for watching, for listening, for being where you are in life, and just being awesome people. And yeah. And if you are interested in still donating to Extra Life for our Dreamcast 24-hour marathon, please do so. It is still open for donations. And if you want, are the videos now available online, all the different videos, Scotty,
not yet. Those are still being edited. We're going to get clips together and have kind of a summary thing, and then also a playlist like we do every year, chop it up into individual hours. Whenever we do stream, you can still scroll down below on the Twitch screen and click on either the banner or my name to donate, because we can take those donations up through November. So it would be really cool to hit the $1,500 mark.
Yeah, it'd be really good. And yeah, once those videos are live, we'll let you know. And it's really awesome. There's some really good Dreamcast games we looked at, especially some of the weirder ones like Ill Bleed, Tokyo Bus Guide's always a favourite, Pen Triathlon. We had a blast. It was
unreleased
really fun.
stuff.
Unreleased stuff, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, guess that'll do it. And catch you later.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
This literal sentence is why I hate video games right now. Final Fantasy 16, a new Final Fantasy adventure will be arriving on the PS5 console as an exclusive, as well as PC, and possibly Xbox down the line.
That you should say this in the show because that's perfect.
I will. Yeah, let me. It's going to be too hard to actually copy that without removing 15 links. So I'm actually going to do a screenshot. A screenshot. I'll do a screenshot. You got to get that screenshot down and I would get some burger bagels.